Welcome. This is a couple checkup overview. It's the first in a series of trainings that we are doing and posting to the internet, so you have a convenient way to learn more about the couple checkup. My name is Dr. Peter Larson. I am a co-author on the couple checkup along with Dr. David Olson, and I'll be giving you a quick overview in this session. So the couple checkup is an online relationship assessment. It is powered by Prepare Enrich. Well, what does that mean? It grows out of Prepare Enrich, which is a 30-year-old assessment program developed at the University of Minnesota. Prepare Enrich has been revised and updated many times. There's lots of research and studies that have been done with Prepare Enrich. And several years ago we decided to make a lighter, quicker version of Prepare Enrich called the Couple Checkup, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. One of the things you can see is that the Couple Checkup is flexible and can be used with married, dating, or engaged couples, no matter what stage of the relationship they're at. And we're going to talk about how some of the content gets adapted to fit couples at the various stages of their relationship. Why did we create the couple checkup? You know, it's interesting. We do a lot of things in our daily lives for maintenance purposes. You know, we go in for physical exams, we get dental checkups annually or sometimes every 6 months. We do oil changes for our cars. I know my car has one of those little lights that comes on and tells me, hey, it's time to get your oil changed. You know, we do all these things because we know that if you don't take care of yourself or your car, it will eventually be a problem. And the same is true about our relationships, about our marriages. But so many people neglect to do anything proactively for their relationship. Instead, we tend to wait, and often wait too long. Here's some shots from an event that we were part of in Florida where couples took the couple checkup and then went out on a series of dates to proactively talk about where their marriage was at and how they could begin to help grow and strengthen that relationship. But you know, some of the research suggests that couples wait several years after they begin to have problems before they go get help. I talked to one therapist who said on average when he asks couples how long they'd been struggling before they came in for counseling, the typical answer is about 7 years. You know, that's just way too long. That's reactive, not proactive. When we wait for something to get that bad. Imagine if you had a cavity and you waited 7 years to go get that taken care of. Obviously, that would have advanced and become quite a problem. You'd lose the whole tooth and maybe more if you let something go on that long. Well, the same logic applies to our relationships. So our specialty with Prepare Enrich and the Couple Checkup is relationship assessment. And you know, that's an interesting niche because there are a lot of programs out there. There are a lot of good curriculum for marriage prep and marriage enrichment. There's excellent counselors and therapists who can help couples. But it's amazing how many people will ignore or deny or neglect that they have any need for services. You know, Prepare Enrich got its start because there was some groups in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area who were running a premarital enrichment series, a premarital education series of lectures, and they really thought they were doing wonderful work. They had good topics, good presenters coming in and doing effective communication on these topics. And they thought, well, let's bring in a team from the University of Minnesota and look at the impact of these programs. Well, After a very comprehensive pre and post study with several doctoral students helping to run the analysis, Dr. Olson and his research team concluded that couples were not getting anything out of it. There was no knowledge gained, no behavior change, and no attitude change. And when they talked to couples about this, most of the couples said, well, that's because it's it's interesting, it's even kind of entertaining, some of what they're talking about, but it doesn't apply to us. We don't have these problems, and we're not going to have these problems. And they were in such denial that it was really just like water off a duck's back. The content was not taking hold. What they did notice, however, is that when you gave a couple a survey, a questionnaire, they got real curious about their relationship. They got real curious about, hey, what did my partner say about the way we communicate or the way I spend money? That took it from a passive experience of listening to someone present a canned program to a very personal experience. And that's the really one of the most powerful aspects of doing assessment. Um, Another reason is it is very efficient in about a 20-minute time span of taking the checkup. We can identify the relationship strengths and issues or growth areas in a couple's relationship very reliably and validly. So it's an efficient use of time and resources to use a standardized questionnaire to understand where the relationship is at. And like we said, it's personal. It gets the couple's attention. I had an aha experience recently. I was driving down the street and came by one of those speed limit signs where there's an actual radar gun, and they're flashing your speed. They were measuring the speed of my car, and so it would show me exactly how fast I was going, and then right underneath that it said, hey, this posted speed is 30 miles an hour. But there's something quite powerful about knowing that they're measuring you personally. I mean, it gets your attention in a way that just passing a speed limit sign that says 30 miles an hour, you don't even see that. But when they're talking about you and measuring your behavior, it gets your attention. And it motivates dialogue with couples when they take the checkup and they answer 90 or 100 questions about all sorts of different relationship topics. Those couples, they get curious, they start talking about their relationship and these various aspects of their relationship. And as they learn about where their strength and growth areas are, it motivates real change. It's one thing to get good advice. It's another thing to know what your growth areas are and really begin to tackle those. And so assessment can be so powerful in setting the stage for an effective program or an effective intervention. Ron Deal, a colleague of mine who is an author and a marriage and family therapist, refers to the couple checkup as like a GPS. He calls it a couple positioning system, a CPS, and talks about how you have to know where you're at in order to chart a course for where you want to go. And the couple checkup and the relationship assessments that we do with Prepare Enrich allow us to have that kind of a GPS positioning on where couples are at, so we can help them chart a course. So some of the features of the couple checkup, like I said, it's based on Prepare Enrich, and that's important because Prepare Enrich has been used for decades by millions of couples and hundreds of thousands of facilitators around the world. Many studies have validated the contents of Prepare Enrich. Statistically, it is reliable and valid, which are the benchmarks for an assessment. And really what we did with the checkup is we took a subset of the content from Prepare Enrich, and we took statistically much of the best content, and were able to put together a shorter version of the inventory that was still highly effective and very powerful. Now, one of the defining features of the couple checkup is that it is direct to couples. Well, what does that mean? With Prepare Enrich, you need to go through the process with a trained or certified facilitator to take the assessment and to get any results. It all runs through a counselor or a pastor or a facilitator of some sort. And that's a very powerful method. Uh, However, with the checkup, I think of it more as the over-the-counter version of the inventory, which goes directly to couples. They can log in, create their own account, take the inventory, and get a report back right away with their results. And so it can be done in the privacy of their own home. They get instant feedback, and there's certainly a time and place for that. We'll talk even about some of the history of why we created it that way. The couple checkup is also customized for the relationship stage and family structure of the couple. So as they answer some of the initial questions with the couple checkup, the inventory is actually being tailored to their relationship. One of the very first questions is, are you dating, engaged, or married? And based on how they answer that question, they really travel down one of three pathways to the contents of the assessment. We'll ask premarital couples if they're living together, if they have children from a previous relationship, and their responses to these questions will change the following questions that they get asked. So it's a powerful tool that way. And then with married couples, we ask them about the age of their children. Do they have children? Are they in a blended family? And again, this is going to change some of the contents that they're exposed to. The checkup is multilingual. With a single click of a button, couples can change the language that the website is in. They can take the assessment and get their report back in any one of 7 or 8 different languages, including Spanish, and French, German, Korean, Chinese, so lots of language options. A couple can even take it in 2 different languages. I talked to a couple once, and the gentleman said, well, you know, we're Hispanic, but my wife prefers Spanish and I prefer English, and so we each took it in our language of preference, and we printed a copy of the report in both languages, and it worked seamlessly. So that was a good affirmation of the translation process and how that is set up to work. And there's a whole session on administration of the inventory where you can learn more about that. Group summaries is another defining feature of the checkup, and again there'll be a full training session on that. But just know that one of the powerful features of the checkup is that with as few as 5 couples or as many as 5,000 or more, you can generate a summary report where the data from multiple couples is pooled together and summarized and shows you the trends and the breakdown of the relationships in your group. Now, the identity of the individual couples is protected. You only get aggregate summary data, but it is quite powerful for a speaker or a group leader or administration folks who need to make decisions for a larger group to know what the health of the relationships is for their group, and what some of the specific strengths and growth areas and trends are for that audience. So these are some really powerful features on the couple checkup. Prepare to last. Now I'm showing you this slide because this is where the couple checkup originally came from. We worked with 2 other organizations to create a marriage preparation program called Prepare to Last. And we wanted to fold an inventory into that package, into that program, but we knew that not every church or every counselor would have the opportunity to get trained and Prepare Enrich. So we worked to create a inventory that didn't require certification and went directly to couples, so that if they were to buy this package, this program that had workbooks and DVDs and everything in it, that they could take their assessment and get some results even without necessarily going through a facilitator. Well, it worked so well with the engaged couples that we quickly realized we needed to create couple checkups for married couples as well. And then we went ahead and thought, let's create some relationship inventories for couples who are seriously dating, and they're in the pre-engagement phase, because more and more couples are really thoughtful about taking that step and looking at the health of their relationship and the viability of their future together even before engagement. And frankly, that's a great time for couples to be thinking about their relationship when they're not distracted by all the wedding planning details and things of that nature. So when a couple takes the checkup, what do they receive? Well, here's a picture of a couple checkup report. In this case, it's a married couple, and that's about a 20-page report on their relationship, and it comes in the form of a PDF file. They also get a free discussion guide. This particular discussion guide pictured here is a version that also has some biblical references in it, so that as it presents topics and exercises on topics like communication or conflict or finance, there's also some scriptural references in there on those topics. Many churches will use the couple checkup as part of a small group process, or sometimes as part of a retreat or an event of some sort. The standard or biblical version is available to all couples who take the checkup. Here are some of the core topics along the left-hand side here that are covered in the couple checkup: communication, conflict, finance, spiritual beliefs, sex, roles, expectations, personality, closeness, and flexibility. Each one of those topics has 7 items or 7 questions in the inventory that pertain to that topic. And both partners in the relationship answer the exact same questions on those aspects of their relationship. The computer process then compares their answers. It shows in the report where they agree and where they disagree, and it's able through some calculations and algorithms to discern what are their strengths, where are they doing well, where do they feel good about their relationship, and what are some of their issues and growth areas where either one or both people have some concerns or struggles. Now, I talked about some of the customizations. So for premarital couples, they may get a parenting expectations scale, or if they have children from a previous relationship, there would be a step family expectations scale. If that couple's living together, there would be questions on cohabitation. If they're dating, they're going to get some content on dating issues and habits and preferences. And if either partner is over 55, they're going to get some questions that have to do more with aging and relationship issues that pertain to couples in an older stage of their life. There's also several scales that pertain to military couples. If one or both partners are active in the military, and they're further customized based on whether or not the active military personnel are preparing for deployment, if they're currently deployed, or if they've recently returned home from deployment. So each one of those is its own 7-item scale of questions that will come up based on where that person's at. Now, if deployment's not an issue, there's a scale on military life in general. And then the military stress profile has been added in the checkup. And we also have some extra questions on the closeness and flexibility of the couple's relationship and how that's been impacted by deployment. So the computer will customize all that content automatically. The facilitator or a group leader doesn't have to do anything. The computer walks the couple through that whole process and adapts the content as needed. What are some of the goals of the program? Well, the discussion guide that every couple gets when they take the checkup is full of exercises and some skills and some guided discussions. And the goals that are really worked towards through going through that process have to do with identifying relationship strength and growth areas, improving communication, learning a 10-step model for conflict resolution, exploring and discussing spiritual beliefs, developing a healthy view of money and a budget and some goals financially, looking at the closeness and flexibility in their relationship and trying to find balance of time spent together and apart, and a balance in terms of structure and flexibility. There's also a whole section on understanding personality, and in the discussion guide, the goal is to not only understand but embrace and accept the personality differences between the partners in that relationship. And finally, there's some content and exercises on developing short-term and long-term goals as an individual, a couple, and a family. So there's a lot of material that can be covered by going through the couple checkup process. I want to also point out that we have worked with several Catholic dioceses and put together a Catholic couple checkup. Now, the Archdiocese of Chicago were big contributors to the Catholic Couple Checkup and helped us customize the content in the areas of spiritual beliefs, children and parenting, and sexual expectations, so that would reflect the church teachings. The Catholic Couple Checkup can be found at CatholicCoupleCheckup.com. There's also some books you may come across in the Couple Checkup family here. There's the Couple Checkup book and the Remarriage Checkup book. Now, these books come with a code in the back that allows for a significant discount, half price really, on the Couple Checkup. So anybody who has one of these books gets the assessment at half price. It's called an individual profile, and the first person can take it for free, and the second person upgrades that account for half price. We'll talk more about that when we get into the administration process. But the books explore the topics in the checkup at a deeper level, and it reveals some of the research and findings from our years of doing studies with couples and working with relationships. There's also some extra exercises and discussion questions for couples based on the topics in the checkup. Now, Ron Deal worked with David Olson to write the Remarriage Checkup book, and they looked at 50,000 couples who were forming a blended family, and so going through a remarriage process, and looked at some of the trends in their relationships. And again, the Remarriage Checkup book also includes that individual profile code. Now, this is the first quick video in a series that we're doing on the Couple Checkup. So this was an overview of what the Couple Checkup is. There's going to be several more videos, including administration, account creation, understanding the results, where we'll go through a report. We'll look at the discussion guide and how to provide feedback to couples. There also is the summary report process that we talked about. So I want to show you how to create a leader's account and a summary report. There's a church-wide checkup process that's being used really all over the country for pastors and leaders who want to get a pulse on the marriages in their church. And then we'll do a specific session on the Catholic Couple Checkup and a session on best practices, tips, options, resources for leaders. So make sure to tune in to these other sessions for a more comprehensive training on the Couple Checkup. Thank you very much.